Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Crossplay Wrestling Podcast. My name is Nicky James, and it's just me today. We're going to do a really quick podcast this week. I just want to get some info out there, get some thoughts out there. Tomorrow's my birthday. It's when I usually record, so I'm going to be drinking and hanging out with friends, and I'm definitely going to be in no mood to podcast. So we're just going to get this out real quick. A little bit of housekeeping, guys. We're doing a giveaway when we hit 50 subscribers on YouTube. We're currently sitting at about 30s, in the low 30s. We want to get that to 50, and when we do, we're going to give away a prize pack of the winner's choice, either 3 months of Xbox Live or PS Plus, and a copy of Battlefield 1 on the Xbox One. All you got to do to win is be subscribed. So go out there, tell your friends, get subscribed, and get some free stuff. As the channel grows, the prizes are only going to get bigger. And what else we got on the housekeeping list? Guys, if you want to follow our blog, you can go to www.nickyjamesstudios.wordpress.com and read our news stories. We basically just post opinion articles and news articles, regarding things that we'd like to talk about on the podcast, news, pop culture, things like that. So let's get right into it. Bayley suffered a separated shoulder this Monday on Raw at the hands of none other than Nia Jax, the human injury machine. All she does is hurt people. Now Bayley's out of SummerSlam. If you remember the podcast last week, I kind of gave a wag of the finger to WWE because they were putting Bayley and Natalya in these women's championship matches at SummerSlam, and I just thought it was extremely backwards. Neither Bayley nor Natalya are championship material. Bayley has just gotten lost. Her character is completely lost. The fans, this Monday on Raw, man, it was savage. They were in Toronto, where it's already what they call Bizarro World. Everything's backwards there. And there were a very vocal audience there in Canada. Bayley went out there and she was going to announce that she was pulling out of the match at SummerSlam against Alexa Bliss. And she's the good guy, right? And the audience tore her apart. And Bayley didn't make it any better by addressing the fact that they were booing. That's like the worst thing you can do as a wrestler in the ring if the audience is booing you is point out that they're booing you, because the last thing that's going to make them do is stop. So they got louder. It was really cringy, really hard to watch, and it's just further burial of Bayley. It's really hard to see because I like Bayley. I've always liked Bayley. She does some cringy stuff sometimes. It's hard to sit through, but I like her. So it's pretty hard to watch. I don't know where her future lies, and that kind of is a natural segue into the next segment here. 5 people I would send to NXT if I were in charge. So a demotion, well, see, that's the wrong word, because it's not necessarily a bad thing to be moved to NXT. You could be moved to NXT because you're good, not because you're bad. Because you're so good, you can be a ring general in NXT and you can help the younger guys, and you can, it's not necessarily a bad thing. So we're going to go through 5 people that I would send down to NXT. We're going to start with Apollo Crews. He just came up from NXT maybe a little over a year ago, and he just hasn't really performed well. He hasn't really met expectations. He's just not that... How do I put it? He's got no character. There's no depth to him at all. He's just the happy black guy that does really cool shooting star presses from his feet. He's extremely athletic, extremely strong, and man, I was wrong. I remember when I saw him at NXT TakeOver, I think it was Chicago before WrestleMania, or was it Dallas? I think it was Dallas. I saw him wrestle there and thought, man, this guy's going to be huge. They need to put him on the main roster right away. And it really just goes to show how little I know as a smark, because they put him on the main roster pretty quickly, and he just kind of floundered and didn't really do much. He had no depth, and that's what it was. He wasn't fun to watch, and now he's just kind of on the shelf. I think the last thing he did was with Titus Worldwide. I don't even know if he's still involved in that angle. But if he was given time in NXT to mature, to grow his character, to grow a character, he could come back in a couple years and really, do well on the main roster. So moving right along now to number 2, kind of brings us back to our first topic. I guess I should have started with this, was Bayley. Bayley, she was so popular in NXT, but she was a big fish in a small pond. And I think it's time to put that fish back, because she's not doing well on the main roster. She had that Extreme Rules match against Alexa Bliss, the kendo stick on a pole match, and ever since then it's been nothing but embarrassment after embarrassment after embarrassment after cringe after injury after injury after cringe. And it's gotten to the point where I can't stand no more. You know what I mean? It's really hard to sit back and watch. So she could go back. Imagine if they did an angle where she goes. Oh man, some of you are gonna hate me for this. If they do an angle where she goes back to NXT and takes Asuka's championship off her. Now hear me out. I know that's crazy, but she's in NXT. Bayley is huge, and she's a serious threat to people. So I think that could be a possible angle to put her back in an NXT. NXT just needs more women and more tag teams. So, and on that note, another person I would send down there is Mickie James. Kind of for, she's the veteran that could go back and help people and bring up the younger stars and prepare them for the main roster. They're obviously not doing much with her, at least at TV tapings. I'm sure she's rocking house shows every day, but that's not going to cut the mustard. So she could really do a lot. She could help NXT, and I'd love to see her get back down there. Moving on down the line here to number 4, Sami Zayn. Yes, Sami Zayn. If you listen to our last podcast, you've heard me say before that he's just a human punching bag now, it seems. Ever since Braun Strowman came on the scene, he started getting beat up by Strowman. Remember, Mick Foley was throwing in the towel for him, and it was really just an assassination of his character. I don't think he gets along with people backstage, with some people, and I think that's why he's kind of had a ceiling as far as how far he's going in the company. But again, it's kind of the Bayley thing, where if Sami Zayn were to go back down to NXT, he would be huge. He'd be the champion in no time again. I'd love to see him get down there. We need bigger names. If we can get a couple of ringers, a couple people from the main roster that are mid-carders, take them down to NXT, they would be superstars. They'd be main eventers. In that vein, we got my last pick, Bray Wyatt. I read an interesting comment on Reddit today, and I wish I had the guy's name and everything so I could give him credit, but it was on the Squared Circle subreddit, and this guy was basically saying that Bray Wyatt is useless when he's not the leader of a cult, when he's not controlling the minds of Luke Harper and Eric Rowan and Braun Strowman. When you take away that power to influence others, that's what made Bray Wyatt intimidating. That's what made him scary, was his ability to influence others to hurt you. But they took that away and tried to go down the supernatural route of, he has PowerPoint powers and he makes maggots appear in the ring when he faces Randy Orton. They tried to go the Undertaker angle, and it didn't work. It was so cheesy. And ever since then, they haven't replaced that how do I put it? They haven't replaced it. They haven't replaced the fact that he was intimidating. He's not intimidating anymore. He does the same thing. Nonsensical promo, get his ass kicked. Nonsensical promo, get his ass kicked. But if they were to take him back down to NXT and repackage him, not even repackage him, just alter his character a bit to be something a little more able to be taken seriously, it would be great for it'd be beneficial for NXT and Bray Wyatt. So I wouldn't be opposed to seeing that at all. I got a little confession to make. I haven't finished watching SmackDown yet. I'm recording this on Tuesday night. I'm only about 40 minutes into the episode, and I decided I got to bang out this wrestling podcast for you guys. But man, I did see Cena's little bickering with Baron Corbin. I've been watching John Cena since the day he debuted. Came out and slapped the taste out of Kurt Angle's mouth. And say what you want about him, he's been one of the most divisive characters in all of sports entertainment. But at this point in his career, at least, he is a savage on the microphone. Man, he hit Baron Corbin where it hurt him. He called him skinny fat, which is so fucked up because Baron Corbin has always had like a pudge on his stomach. And a couple days ago, Finn Balor tweeted, maybe you can give me a few of those extra pounds you're hiding under your t-shirt. So it's like the wrestlers are all picking on Baron Corbin for being a little chubster. But I don't know. And you could tell when Cena laid that on him, he felt it. Baron Corbin totally felt that. He kind of had the look on his face of like a child that just got scolded. It was really kind of embarrassing. In fact, like I said, I haven't finished watching SmackDown, but Baron Corbin's exposure tonight in Toronto has really kind of made him look like a bit of a bitch, really. I mean, he got schooled by John Cena and literally hung his head when he heard Daniel Bryan's music hit. They just kind of started suddenly making him look like a coward. And by the way, why did they replace his music? I loved his old music. Dude, that was awesome. It was so cool and catchy. And they replaced it with this generic metal tune. You know, and I get that he was voted the most metal athlete of last year, so something like this was bound to happen. But I really loved his old theme song. Kind of bummed they axed it for this new one, but I haven't given this new one quite a chance yet. I haven't heard it all. But I really love his old one, and I miss it. Talking about new theme songs, Usos. Usos got a new theme song. Well, not so much a new theme song as it is a remix of their current song or their old song with vocals over it. But it's cool. It's actually really catchy, and it's really rare that these changes are made, and I'm just right on board from the start. Another time I was right on board from the start was when they added the Burn It Down to Seth Rollins theme. I texted Peps last night, and I said, I'm calling it now. The audience screaming Burn It Down to Seth Rollins theme is going to be a permanent thing from now on. Now, they didn't do it on SmackDown. I just did it sitting in my living room. So I'm like, if I'm doing it, they're going to start doing it. That's a really cool new addition to his theme song. But back to the Usos. Their new music is rad. I really, really hate to admit it, but they're kind of growing on me. When they were in their, colorful, play hard in the paint phase, I wasn't a big fan, really. Just didn't really like them. Thought they were, average in the ring. Solid, but average. I thought their gimmick were happy Samoans. Cool. Not interesting. And then they took this heel turn, and now they're unhappy Samoans, which is just not intimidating or interesting. And it's like, how are you going to show me these guys for the last few years wearing neon green and orange, talking about how they respect everyone, and then suddenly have them coming out one day dressed as gangbangers, and I'm supposed to take them seriously and intimidating? I just didn't. Their promos were hot garbage for the last 2 months. I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm in the minority on this. Everyone I talk to seems to love them, but I absolutely can't stand them. However, you got to give credit where credit's due, right? Their last match they put on, oh man, I can't even remember who they wrestled, but they put on a match last week, and the match they put on at Battleground against the New Day. It was amazing. Best matches of the night. I don't know if it's just the New Day that makes them look so good or what, but I'm giving them credit. They've been putting on solid ass matches lately. So if they keep on this trend, hey, maybe I'll become a fan of the Usos. Speaking of me being on the other end in the minority, why does everybody hate R-Truth? I love R-Truth. He's my favorite. He's my boy. I love him. I don't know. I don't get where the hate is. Like, he's a veteran. He's been in the industry forever. He's had awesome tag teams with Goldust. Believe he was teamed with Road Dogg. He was teamed with, who else was it? I think maybe even Booker T at some point. But I don't know. My whole wrestling life, I've seen R-Truth around as K-Quick and whatever. But his current iteration in the last 2 or 3 years has been my favorite. He's a solid wrestler, a great guy. Everyone in the backstage loves him. I don't know what is there to hate. Like his feud but his tag team with Goldust was corny. Remember when they were looking for Pokemon at the Pittsburgh arena? It was so stupid, but that's kind of, it's attributed to his character. He's silly and happy, and he's like Apollo Crews, but with depth to him. I don't know. Let me know on Twitter. I would actually love to hear from you guys on this. How do you feel about R-Truth? Is he annoying? Is he a bad wrestler? What's the beef with R-Truth, guys? Let me know at Twitter at Crossplay Pod. We're gonna get to our last segment of the week, Wrestler of the Week. We are going with my girl Naomi, cause she's amazing. I don't know. I've never had anything bad to say about her. Ever since she won the title, she's just been constantly entertaining, putting on entertaining matches. She's so underappreciated. Like, okay. Actually, let me reel back here. You can't say she's underappreciated when she has the belt, but she's not talked about in the same company as Charlotte or Sasha. And she should be, because she's almost just as good as they are. Like, she's miles above Dana Brooke and Nia Jax, even Mickie James. Hell, she's way better than Alexa Bliss, even in the ring. So, she just doesn't seem to get the love I think she deserves. So I'm here to give it. Naomi, keep doing what you're doing. Your new belt is badass. I hope you retain it, especially against Natalya. But yeah, tell me what you think about Naomi, guys. Love her or hate her. Let me know at Twitter at Crossplay Pod. That's going to close it out for this week, guys. I know it was a short episode. It was kind of light on the content too, but we've had a lot of things going on behind the scenes here, and we're trying to make the podcast bigger and better. And if you want to help, guys, you could do that at Patreon at as little as $1 a month over at patreon.com/crossplayentertainment. You can read the blog at www.nickijamesstudios.wordpress.com. Follow us on Facebook. Find us on YouTube and subscribe. Don't forget, we're doing a giveaway when we reach 50 subscribers. 3 months of PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live and a free copy of Battlefield 1 on the Xbox One. That's going to wrap it up for today, guys. I am going to go play Slime Rancher with my wife and go to bed. After that, thanks, guys. Thank you for joining me today. We will see you next Wednesday for the Crossplay Wrestling Podcast. Don't forget to join us every Tuesday for the Crossplay Podcast. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, anywhere podcasts are available. Come find us. Don't forget to rate us, like us, and subscribe us, guys. We will see you next Wednesday. Bye-bye.